I want to get on to our population. The projection today that Australia is going to hit 40 million people in about 40 years. Sounds big, but that's actually based on a slightly slower immigration levels than we're having at the moment. Here's the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers.
Our population will grow more slowly, our people will live longer and healthier lives, and our care economy will become an even more central focus in the decades ahead.
Yeah, we're going through an incredible expansion in immigration at the moment, Katie, over the next 2 or 3 years. A lot of angst over that. And I reckon this report's just going to feed into that. I think the federal government, with a housing crisis and with unemployment starting to tick up, they really need to be very careful about immigration levels in this country.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you touched on it just a moment ago there, Chris, is the housing levels. And we know that Albo obviously came out last week with his big housing announcement, and a lot of people questioning how Australia is actually going to build the number of houses that he's talking about. But I think when you talk immigration as well, there needs to be a bit more of a discussion about, about people moving to the regions too. And when you talk about population and the volume that we have living in capital cities, I think we need to get a little bit better as Australia, as a country, in actually getting people living in the regions, supporting the regions, and trying to fill some of those job vacancies in different areas where we actually do need the population to grow. Because what we're seeing is our major capital cities have got this real stress on infrastructure. You guys would be more aware of that than what I am living in Darwin. But then you've got places like Darwin where at different times we're screaming out for people to move here. We're wanting to boost the population. We're wanting to fill different jobs. And then when you go even more remote or more regional, you've got even more of that flow-on effect where we would like to see the population bolstered. But then when you talk about the ageing population, well, we've got to make sure that we've got the support mechanisms in place for those that are ageing.
Yeah, when it comes to the ageing population, the Tasmanian Senator Jackie Lambie has got some interesting advice for it. Have a look.
Young people out there that are married now thinking whether or not they'll even have one child because of the cost of living and all the rest. So right now we need them to go and have babies, Pete. We need them to go and have babies. That's what we need. Otherwise we're going to have no one to look after us.
What do you reckon, Ali? I remember Peter Costello said, have one for mum, one for dad, one for the country. Now it's just Jackie Lambie saying, go and have babies.
Yeah, well, you go pay for them, Jackie Lambie. I mean, I just had to get some new clothes because my kids are growing out and getting ready for summer. I mean, that's all well and good. Look, unless we have decent long-term strategies that cut across political boundaries for this, we won't be able to have the way forward to look after people that come here, to be able to house them, to give them meaningful work and to look after our older generations. And the strategies have to be adopted and looked after longer than an election cycle, because you can't start all over again once the other guys get in power.
Yep, and you've got to get into a house. Unless you've got home ownership, you don't feel that security to have a family.